everyone, Sage Topaz here. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. I really appreciate it. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day and staying safe. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Swat Kats and why the show needs to be revived today. The show should have been revived years ago, but for some reason it hasn't been. But yes, they need to revive Swat Kats. So for those of you who don't know Swat Kats is a Cartoon Network show. It aired on Cartoon Network from 1993 to 1995. It is a badass action-adventure show. Honestly, Swat Kats is like one of the greatest cartoons of all time. It is so underrated. And it is just such an amazing show. It was so ahead of its time. Basically, what the show is about, it's about these anthropomorphic cats. I hope I said that right. It's about these anthropomorphic cats, Jake Razor Clawson and Chance T-Bone Furlong. And they live in this city called Mega Cat City, which is also full of anthropomorphic cats. And Jake and Chance, they worked in this law enforcement agency called the Enforcers. And the Enforcers are basically the main law enforcement agency of Mega Cat City. I mean, they're part of the government. They're a really big deal. And they take down crime, and there are like a lot of criminals in Mega Cat City. It's like Gotham. Like the amount of like villains and crazy psychos in Mega Cat City, you know, it reminds me of Gotham, the amount of villains there. But anyway, so Jake and Chance were part of the Enforcers, and during a mission, they were trying to take down Dark Cat, who is also a major villain on the show, and he makes a lot of appearances in the show. But yeah, they were trying to take him down. They were trying to capture him, and Jake and Chance ignored their commander's orders, and the commander of the Enforcers is called Commander Farrell. And Commander Farrell is a very by the book kind of guy. He's very strict. He's just like very by the book. Like just do things the way they should do. You know, there's no leeway. So yeah, he's like very uptight that way. But yeah, they ignored his orders, and in doing so, they accidentally somehow blew up the Enforcers headquarters, and Dark Cat got away. So yeah, that was a big epic fail. So they got discharged from the Enforcers, and they were also reassigned to work in the military junkyard in the city. So, you know, Jake and Chance, they were embarrassed, you know, they felt bad, but they didn't give up. You know, they didn't want to just sit back and just not try and help out, and not try and like stop criminals in the city. So they get all the scrap, they get the junk from the junkyard, and they decide to make their own vehicles and their own weapons. So they actually create this jet called the Turbo Cat jet, and it is such a badass jet. I mean, it has like all these like missiles and GPS navigation system and all kinds of crazy stuff. Like the weapons and the vehicles they have are so much better than the weapons and the vehicles that the Enforcers have. They also make their own motorcycles, like Jake and Chance, like they have their own weapons that they make from the junk in the junkyard, and they decide to become a superhero team, and they call themselves the Swat Kats. So they have their disguises, they have like you know, like a mask and everything, and they become vigilantes, and they you know, go after all the criminals in the city. And Commander Farrell just absolutely hates the SWAT Kats. He doesn't know that his former employees, Jake and Chance, but he just cannot stand the SWAT Kats' guts because, like I said, Commander Farrell is very by the book. He's a very by the book kind of guy. And the SWAT Kats, I mean, they're vigilantes, so they just do whatever they feel is necessary to take down the bad guys. You know, of course they don't like hurt civilians and stuff, but they basically like they don't go by the book. They go by their own rules. They do whatever they need to take down the bad guys of Mega Cat City, and they help out they stop a lot of bad guys, and it gets under Commander Farrell's skin because he knows that they're a really good superhero team, but he doesn't want to admit it because he's stubborn. And he's also like, oh, I don't need the SWAT Cats' help. So he's just very stubborn. He's just, yeah, he sees the SWAT Cats as a nuisance, but he also sees them as a threat because they're kind of like coming into his territory, you know? But yeah, so there were so many. I mean, it was just such an interesting show. I mean, Jake and Chance were just very likable characters. Their friendship was great. You know, they were like brothers. There were other characters in the show who were interesting as well, like the deputy mayor of Mega Cat City. Her name is Callie Briggs, and Callie Briggs, she's very pretty and very smart. And her and Razor, her and Jake, they definitely liked each other. I wish they explored the show, kind of, made them have like a romantic relationship, because Callie and Jake definitely liked each other. But again, if you guys do a reboot, maybe you can explore that, huh? So yeah, the characters were just very interesting. And the deputy mayor, so the mayor of Mega Cat City, he was just absolutely useless. He reminds me of Mayor Goodway from Paw Patrol. You know how Mayor Goodway just is so incompetent and so stupid. Like every time there's trouble, she just doesn't know what to do. Like she's just completely useless. That is how the mayor of Mega Cat City is. He is absolutely useless. And I have no idea how this guy became mayor. But basically, Deputy Mayor Callie, she's the one basically that does his job. Like she is always cool under pressure. She's the one that calls the SWAT Cats. She works with the SWAT Cats. She is actually doing the job that the mayor is supposed to do. So yeah, I don't know how that mayor became the mayor of Mega Cat City, but it's all adds to, like, it's funny. It's a part of the comic relief of the show. And the bad guys of SWAT Cats, they were pretty badass too. I mean, you got like the Metallic Cats, right? And the Metallic Cats, they're this husband and wife mobsters, and they got into some kind of accident, and they became cyborgs. So they were actually a pretty cool duo. And there was also the Past Master, and he was he was also a major villain on the show too. Like he could manipulate time, and he could also like summon ancient creatures like dinosaurs and dragons. And there was also Dr. Viper. And he was kind of like this mad scientist or whatever, who like would always try and like mutate the city and stuff. And like I said, Dark Cat was like one of the like major, most powerful villains of the show. So yeah, it was just, oh my goodness, like I said, the show was just so ahead of its time. The animation was phenomenal. The music, I would play the music, but I can't because, you know, YouTube copyright. But yeah, it was such a phenomenal show. And the reason it was canceled, I heard, I think it got canceled because I think they couldn't make some kind of toy lines for it. I think they were supposed to, they couldn't, you know how like a lot of cartoons, they have like toys based on the cartoons. I think it has something to do with a toy line. They weren't able to make toys from it or something like that, I think. But according to Wikipedia, it actually got canceled because it was considered too violent, according to Cartoon Network. Which, come on, like seriously, it was an action show, okay? Like there was like a lot of action from the fighting with, you know, the weapons from the jets and stuff, but I mean, it definitely wasn't that violent. I mean, come on. But for some reason, that was the reason that it got canceled. And yeah, I mean, I just don't understand why there hasn't been a reboot of SWAT Kats. I mean, they made a reboot of Thundercats, and there's a lot of SWAT Kats fans out there. In fact, there was a Kickstarter, according to Wikipedia. A revival of the series was funded by a Kickstarter, which ended with over $140,000 in funds. So they raised all this money. They're like, hey, you know, we can actually start programming for a new SWAT Cat series. But after that, haven't heard anything. And Cartoon Network, there's been no announcements from Kickstarter, from Cartoon Network. It seems like there are no plans to remake the series, which again is just so weird because, I mean, like I said, that show is just, it was way ahead of its time. Like, it is such an amazing show. Honestly, I don't know if you could find episodes. I'm pretty sure you could find episodes of it on YouTube, maybe. But they used to show a lot of reruns on Cartoon Network, but they don't show the reruns anymore, which sucks. I don't know if they show it on Boomerang because I don't have Boomerang. But for those of you who grew up watching SWAT Kats, you know what I'm talking about. You know just how great the show was. For those of you who don't know SWAT Kats, I definitely recommend that you check out that show. And yes, to Cartoon Network out there, I appeal to you. You need to remake SWAT Kats.